Hey, what's going on? Yeah, basically, I'm kind of both testing, making, see if I can get away with, see what I can get away with. I have this idea I've had for a long time for a very simple little game. I've just never gotten around to doing it. Because I never had time to play around with Unreal Engine in that aspect. But I want to learn more about it. So I was curious to see how much ChatGPT understands and if it can guide me on what I need to do. So I started out by telling ChatGPT a description of the game. It's very simple. It took maybe 5 paragraphs to describe what the game does. It's a very simple mechanic, almost like a board game. And I asked it if it understood. Oh, you read it? Okay. So I asked it if it understood what my game was, and it gave me a quick summary of how the game is going to be played. It's usually a 2-player game, so I don't even know if that's gonna work, but that's like, I'll worry about that later on. But it should be, in my brain, it should be a super simple game to put together. Obviously, I just don't know what I'm doing, so I'm gonna have a very high learning curve. So it does understand what I'm asking it to do. And then I also asked it, are you familiar with any other games in existence that are played like this? And because I also wanted to see if other people have already made this type of game, or if I'm going to be doing something that's going to rip somebody off or whatever. And it told me, yes, the game you described is very similar to a classic game called Tic-Tac-Toe, also known as Noughts and Crosses. Tic-Tac-Toe is played on a 3x3 grid and 2 players take turns, etc., etc. And then it says, however, there are some differences between the game that you described and Tic-Tac-Toe. In Tic-Tac-Toe, there is no movement phase. Players only place their symbols on the grid, and the game ends when the player achieves 3 in a row, or when the grid is completely filled, and the game ends in a draw. In your game, players use pawns and can move them once they are placed on the board, adding an additional strategic element to the game. So yeah. This game is going to be very similar to Tic-Tac-Toe. It's going to be played on a grid similar to a chess game. And I'm going to be using pawns. And the idea is that each player uses 3 pawns, and they start by taking turns putting 1 pawn on the board. The idea is that they need to get 3 in a row, just like Tic-Tac-Toe. However, if nobody gets the tic-tac-toe, if nobody gets the 3 in a row, the player is allowed to move any of their pawns 1 square at a time. They cannot jump over a square that's already occupied, and they cannot move into a square that's already occupied. They can only move into ones that are free. And this way, the game will continue. The pawns will continue to move around until somebody has achieved the 3 in a row. This is based on an old Mayan game that kids in my village used to play. We used to find little pieces of glass, rocks, shiny things, or whatever, and those were our pawns, I guess. And we would draw this board. It didn't look like this, but this is my simplification of it. The original game actually had these corners spread out and drawn with little interconnecting lines. And if this game works out, if I'm able to make it, I'll probably reconfigure it and make it look all pretty and more similar to the original game that kids used to play. But for now, I just want to see if I can actually get ChatGPT to guide me. So I asked it, okay, good. I would like to make this game in Unreal Engine. Would like you to guide me as to how to do this? So here it is. It gave me a complete summary of what I need to do. This is a high-level view. And so obviously step 1, install Unreal Engine. Step 2, create the game board. and step 3, create pawns. So that's kind of what I'm working on right now. I've just finished creating the game board. I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of paint it and make it look like some kind of board. And I guess there's a couple ways that I can paint this. I can either paint like, this would be like a little donut with a hole, or it could be like a cross in the middle, I guess. Basically the idea is it's just like a chunk of a chessboard. So I'm just gonna go with that. I'm just looking for some, maybe gold will work. If I can find like a green and or black to work with, similar to Jade versus Obsidian. But I'm not gonna worry about it right now. I'm just gonna kind of work with it. Very orange. Alright, so that should give me my game board. I mean, it would be cool if I can actually get this to work. To make it so that it's like a server-based thing where people could just jump in and quickly challenge each other to play the game. But I don't even know if it's gonna work because it's a 2-player game and I'm gonna require some way of doing 2 things. Maybe I can tell ChatGPT to maybe I can get ChatGPT to give me the game logic that I need for playing against the computer. Of course, the computer's Hey Rand, how's it going? Yeah, well, I'm not really much of a Blender man. I look at Blender and I just run. But I don't even know too much about Unreal either, except for like animation and filmmaking. This is my first attempt at trying to make some kind of game. So I have this idea for a very basic game here, and I ran it through ChatGPT to see if it can help me actually do it. So it's giving me a few steps on how to achieve it. So I'm just kind of going through it right now. Right now I'm on step 2, which is to create the game board. Actually, I just finished that. So I'm gonna move on to putting out some pawns, some play pieces, and then I'm gonna go back to ChatGPT and ask what to do. I tried using Unity. It just felt so crazy for me. Like it was very hard for me to use it. But I have a friend who actually uses it, and he just swears by it. And I wanted to use it for filmmaking stuff. I saw Neil Blomkamp, I believe. He made an entire little short film series using it. And man, that shit was beautiful. Adam, I think it was. And the music got loud. Alright, hopefully that's better. Alright, so I reduced the volume of the music, and let me know if you can hear my voice. Yep. Yeah, people just make it look too easy sometimes, and it's just crazy. Like Blender, man, it's just crazy though. I've been playing around with Stable Diffusion and Control Rig and all that stuff, and it blows my mind the kind of stuff that you can do with it. And of course, everybody is recommending, you know, working with Blender for creating some of the initial assets that are used to control Stable Diffusion. And oh, you just go into Blender, you do this. Like man, I'm an animator with about 20 years of experience in the industry, have worked on so many different shit. I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing inside of Blender, man. I look at that thing, I just run. Fuck that, you know. I can't. I pull my brain, I pull my hair out. I try it. I even go in there sometimes when I just need to do something simple like convert a mesh into something else, and this I just end up giving up. I can't do the simplest things. But one of these days I'm gonna hunker down, because that's how I learned Flash. I mean, Flash was so difficult to me when I was starting out, and I just basically said, you know what, fuck this. I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna this is what I'm gonna learn today, and now I'm gonna learn this, and then I'm gonna learn that. I just forced my way through it, and of course after I did it, it was one of those things where it just seems like second nature to me. It's like, man, this is so fucking obvious. I'm just gonna make these pieces half the size, I guess, or quarter size. I don't know, smaller than those big. The game board stuff. So the next thing is I need to figure out how to communicate this to ChatGPT so that he knows what I'm talking about. So maybe I should give these props their own unique names. That way, if I need to refer to them, and I can refer to them specifically. I have no idea how this is going to work at this point. Alright, so yeah. No, well, technically they're not harder. It's just not very well documented. That's the other thing about that. People say they're harder, and they're really not. They're a million times easier than G3 characters. And I know that sounds weird, but G2 characters, the only reason people perceive them as being more difficult is because you have to do 10 times the work as a G3 character. You know, but you know, a G2 character has 10 angles. A G3 character has one angle. So what's the difference there? That you only have to do one angle. But the actual work itself for a G3 character, you gotta go through this convoluted bullshit inside of Photoshop and layers stacked on top of each other with very specific names that you have to manually type in. And if you don't, if you want to do custom stuff, if you want to do custom stuff, you have to do everything manually like that. But if you don't want to do that, then you're stuck with the template that Reallusion provided, which causes everybody's characters to pretty much look the same. I really hate G3 characters. That's why I don't do them. And pound for pound, a one-angle G2 character versus a one-angle G3 character is, I would say, maybe 75% easier than a G3 character. Okay, so this is gonna be my play pieces. Actually, I wonder if I can nest those. I'm not gonna try. That's just gonna get me more convoluted. I'll worry about that if I can actually get this game working. I'll worry about making them pretty and distinctive and all that stuff. And eventually I'll probably just, if it works, I'll replace these with actual characters. So this is gonna be the black pawns, the obsidian. Actually, you know what? I'll use the same colors as the board. Maybe that'll help. I don't know. I don't know how it will. I like how this chrome looks very yellow. I'll worry about all this stuff later. If I can even get that far, I mean, there's a good chance I'm probably just gonna end up quitting. I'm very curious as to how far I can get with this. So I completed step 2, which is to create the game board. And I think I finished step 3, which is, no, I haven't. I partially completed step 3. Step 3 says, create the pawns. Model the white and black pawns using a 3D modeling software, or use simple shapes like spheres and cylinders as placeholders. Import them into Unreal Engine and create 2 new blueprint classes for each pawn type. White pawn and black pawn, inheriting from the actor class. Now, that I have no idea. So let's see if I can now ask GPT how do I do that. So I have completed step 1 and 2. I have also placed my pawns on the environment. I'm gonna describe what I did so that it knows what I'm working from, and then I'm gonna try to tell me what to do from there. So for the grid, I arranged. Oh, for the game board, I arranged nine cubes what are these things called in terms of Unreal Engine? Shapes, cubes. So for the board, I arranged 9 cubes in a grid formation. I colored them using gold. Intersecting? What's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word that I'm looking for. For the game board, I arranged 9 cubes in a grid formation. Okay, I colored them using white and gold materials. Okay, so for the game board, I arranged 9 cubes in a grid formation. I colored them using a white gold material, a white and gold, using chrome and gold materials. The corners and center boxes are silver, and the other 4 boxes are gold. So I arranged the cubes in a 3x3 formation, and I'm gonna use that word instead. Seems to be more descriptive. Okay. Each box is, let's see here. I don't have the actual size of these boxes. I don't know how to get that. Each box originally a cube but has been resized to scale as follows. The pawns were also made from simple cubes. They are scaled as follows. X.5 Y.5 and Z 2. 3 chrome colored pawns. Now, what do I need to do to complete step 3? Let's see what it says. I mean, it said that I need to make some blueprints, but I need specifics on that, so I'm going to be asking about that. Now that you have created the game board and pawns, you can proceed with creating the blueprint classes for each pawn type, white pawn and black pawn. Here's how you can complete step 3. In the Unreal Engine content browser, click on the Add New button and select Blueprint class. Just giving those pawns individual names and putting them to the Alright, so in the Unreal Engine content browser, click on the Add New button and select Blueprint class. Content browser. Would that be here? In the Unreal Engine content browser. Okay, that's this right here then. Click on the Add New button. Is there an Add New button? Oh, there it is. And we'll select Blueprint class. There it is. In the Pick Parent class window, choose Actor as the parent class. Okay, so far so good. Name the new Blueprint class White Pawn. Alright. then double click it to open the blueprint editor. I follow so far. In the components panel of the blueprint editor, where's the components panel? That's this side here, okay. In the components panel of the blueprint editor, click on Add Component button and select Static Mesh. In the components panel of the blueprint editor, click Add Component and select Static Mesh. That's this. Static Mesh. Okay. In the details panel, locate the Static Mesh property and click on the drop-down menu to select the cube you created for the white one. To select the cube. Okay. See, I had a different idea. I thought I was just gonna have to do all 3 versus 3, but it's probably just gonna have me create this one blueprint and make this blueprint replicated 3 times. In the new blueprint class, white Pong, I guess I'll have to give it a unique name. In the details panel, that's this one on the right. In the details panel, locate the static mesh property. That's gonna be a oh, there it is. Static mesh. In the components panel, blueprint static mesh. In the details panel, look at the static mesh property and click on the drop-down menu to select the cube mesh you created for the white pawn. Okay, so I didn't have to do that 3 times, right? Wow. Huh. Okay, let's try going back here. And let's call this I wonder if I could convert this to a edit cube. It's not get ahead of ourselves. I'm making too many assumptions. If I give it a name, I wonder if it'll make it easier for me to find it in here. Let's try dragging and dropping. It did not work. Static mesh actor. How do I take that cube? Maybe I just did the wrong type. Let me see. There's no static mesh option. Let's ask Google. How to convert a prefab into static mesh. Merge, combine, select it on Alright, so I can come in here and go to actor 1, 2, 3, 4, convert white pawn to static mesh. Nice. So that gives me an actual asset to work with. Okay. So now I should be able to go in here. And there it is. Perfect. But it's resized the wrong way. Okay, I'm not worried about it because I can sure I can go back and choose the size that I wanted. No idea. We'll cross that hurdle when we get to it. Save all. What is this? So static mesh property, and click the drop down menu. In the details panel, locate the static mesh property and click the with the static mesh component selected, scroll down to the materials section and set the chrome material you created for the white pawns. Okay, that's already done. Save and close the white pawn blueprint. Repeat steps 1 through 7 to create a new blueprint class for black pawn with the gold material assigned to the static mesh component. Okay. So we'll take that one and go to actor, convert black pawn, static mesh, black pawn. Oops, what is this? So let's see if we can remember our steps and what the hell we did. New blueprint class. It's an actor. Excuse me. This is gonna be black pawn. We'll go in there. We'll create a static mesh component. This doesn't feel like the same thing I did earlier. Looks like I could have just chosen a cube here instead of going through all that trouble. Okay, so that was not so bad so far. Save and close the white pawn blueprint. Repeat steps 1 through 7 to create the ones for the black pawn. Now you have created the blueprint classes for both pawn types. In the next steps, you will work on implementing the game logic in game mode blueprint. Okay. I have completed this. What is next? This is like, you know, normally you look for tutorials on YouTube and you expect to find things that'll teach you certain things and stuff, but this is like a customized tutorial to guide me exactly as to what I need to do in order to achieve my goals, man. This, so far, this is really good. And I've already learned a bunch of stuff. The blueprint classes, static meshes, converting a basic object into a static mesh. That's stuff I didn't know how to do before. So just by doing this alone, I've already learned how to do that. So I'm winning. It says, great, now that you have created the white pawn and black pawn blueprint classes, you can proceed to create the game mode blueprint and implement the game logic. Here's how to create and set up the game mode blueprint. In the content browser, click on the add new button and select blueprint class. Okay, so new blueprint class. I think it's gonna be this. And choose game mode base as the parent class. So these things here are the parent classes. Okay. Game mode base as the parent class. Name the new blueprint class my game mode. My game mode. I'm pretty sure I could come up with a better name for this, but I'm just gonna go with it for now. And then double click it to open the blueprint editor. Okay, I remember doing stuff with game modes when I built my custom camera. It allowed me to build a series of functions that would allow me to control the camera automatically. Like, it would automatically launch it. That would be the game's mode. So I'm a little bit familiar with it. Not too much. I have no idea what we're going to do now. In the world settings panel, if not visible, enable it from which one's the world settings panel? Double click it to open. Enable it from window world settings. Okay, window. I don't see a world settings panel. Components, my blueprint, details. Where's world settings? Is this one of those things that has changed? or is this one of those things that's in the main area here? Window, viewports, world partition, world settings, there it is. So that's this. Okay, so it's not in the blueprint thing, it's in the main area. Set the game mode override property to the my game mode blueprint that you just created. Okay, so game mode override my game mode. Okay, so that's that right there. And now you have set up the game mode blueprint. The next step is to implement the game logic, such as turn management, pawn placement, movement phase, and win conditions. You can follow the high-level overview provided in the previous response and break down each step into smaller tasks. Here's a brief summary of what you need to implement in the My Game Mode blueprint. Okay, implement variables and logic for turn management. Example. Man, this is gonna be the tricky part. Okay, I'm already starting to feel the kind of like hesitation. I might not want to go through this. Here's a brief summary of what you need to do. Implement variables and logic for turn management. Which player, etc. Which player's turn is. Example, which player's turn it is, the current game phase, placement, or movement. Implement the placement. Implement the placement phase. Create a custom event for handling pawn placement. Use a line trace by channel node to detect where the player is clicking on the board and spawn a pawn of the current player's type at the clicked location. Okay, so it's trying to get those things. I want them to walk from the current position to their spot. I don't want them to appear. But I realized that that is basically, that's just visual fluff, right? That's not really a necessary thing in order for this to work. Oh yeah, so I don't think it's necessary for this to work for me to be visually appealing in terms of animation and stuff. So yeah, just spawning them at the click location is perfectly fine now, and then I guess later on I can modify it so that once the game itself is working, I can implement a feature where there's 3 players on each side, and then when things are clicked, when things are clicked on, they get animated from spot to spot. Or I could just tell ChatGPT now to do this. gonna step outside for a minute. create a series of variables apparently inside of game mode. Where did I put that? Let's see. Step 1, you'll need to create variables in your game mode blueprint to keep track of the game state and manage the turn system. Here are some example variables you might use. Current player and enum enumerator variable to store the current player's turn. The enum can have two values, white and black. You'll use these variables to determine which player's pawn should be placed on what move during each turn. Okay. Components, blueprints. Variable again. Haven't done this in a million years. Here we go. So create one called white. And this will be an enum variable. Enum. Oh, this will be called current player. Rename current player. Okay, I don't know what to select here. What is this section called? Okay, left click to select the variable's pin type. Right click to toggle the type as an array. Current variable type. Okay, well that's some more research. Let's see. so many versions of this enum thing. Okay, it's telling me to change it, so okay, we can do that. That seems easier. And we leave it as Boolean. To create a Boolean variable, open type clicking the variable. So now we create another one. That's another Boolean. An integer variable to store the number of white pawns placed on the board. The variable will help you keep track of the white player's progress during the placing phase. Alright, so I need one for white and one for black. Integer variable. And then game state, an enum variable to store the current game state. The enum can have three values: placement, movement, and game over. You use this variable to control the flow of the game and execute different logic based on the game state. This is probably going to be another difficult one. Game state is already in use.
Create these variables in your game mode blueprint. Button next to variable, set as type, current player, type, enum. Name the variable, set its variable type, set current player with the variable type enum. Create enum variable type, add new, blueprint enumeration player. Current player, instead of using a variable, it seems like the variable game state is already being used, possibly by a built-in variable or another variable you have created. You can use a different name for your variable, such as current game state. Okay, we'll use that. Blueprints enumeration. In the content browser, click add new and choose blueprints. Content browser. What the fuck? Oh man, this is like really crazy. I don't understand it at all. Create the current state variable with enum type in the content browser. Add new. Blueprints. It's not in there. New blueprint enumeration. Oh, I see. Okay. Enumeration, name it game states. Placement, movement, and game over. Open the game mode blueprint. Oh man, this is difficult. In the content browser, click add to the name it.
Where do I add the entries? Oh, add numerator right there. So this is going to be replacement. I think I'm doing it right. Movement. Open the game mode blueprint in the blueprint editor. This right here. Next to variable, create a new variable. Okay, so we create a new variable. Name it current game state. Set the variable type to your game state enumerator by clicking on the variable drop down, selecting game state under the user defined category. I don't have a user-defined category. I need to find this. So current game state. Click the plus button next to variables. I did that. Create a new variable. Name the variable game state. Okay, I did that. Set the variable type to your game state's enumeration by clicking on the variable type. Drop down menu. Variable type. Oh, yeah. I wonder if I just search for game states. enum game states. There it is. Okay. The first option would have worked fine too, I guess, if I knew what I was doing. Now you have Alright. This is done. What's next? Says great. Now that you have created the necessary variables, you can proceed with implementing the game logic in the My Game Mode blueprint. We will start by implementing the placement phase. Wow, this is crazy. Honestly, I didn't even think I was gonna get this far. In the create a custom event and name it handle placement. My game mode blueprint. Close this. My game mode blueprint. Create a new custom event and name it handle placement. This event will handle the how do I create an event? For step 1, before I in the graph editor. Okay. Right click on an empty space to open the context menu. Custom event. Perfect. Set the name to handle placement. Okay. Oh, nice. Now we have created a custom add a line trace by channel node and connect it to the handle placement event. This node will help detect where the player clicks on the board. Add a line trace by channel node. Okay, so here it is. It's a collision detection. Line trace by channel. Damn, that's big. and connect it. This node will help you detect where the player clicks on the game board. Okay. For the line trace by channel node, set the start and end pins to define the trace line. You can use get player controller node combined with get mouse position on the viewport to detect screen to world modes to convert the 2D mouse position into 3D world coordinates. Holy shit, that's a mouthful. Oh. I thought this was going to be a simple game. I was just thinking about like the simplest things that I could think of. And over here I was thinking, okay, maybe I want to get this to be animated, move from this to this, and have 3 players on the board, and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, just that alone is going to be crazy, I think. At least for me. I'm a complete and total noob. So this thing has start and end. I see them. Okay. Add a line trace by channel node. That's completed. For the line trace by channel node, set the start and end pins to define the trace line. On the graph editor, game mode, blueprint graph. Click on an empty space and search for get player controller at the graph. Alright, get player controller. Drag a pin from the output of the get player controller node and search for get mouse position on viewport. Okay. So I'm getting the player controller and I'm getting the mouse position.
on the viewport, add get mouse position viewport node to your graph. This node will output X and Y coordinates of the mouse cursor. Drag a pin from the output of the get player controller node again and search for get player camera manager. There it is. Add the get player camera manager node to your graph. Drag a pin from the output of the get camera manager node and search for the project screen to world. Project screen to world. Man, these are all sorts of concepts that it means, but I kind of get it. There it is. But it's not letting me put it in there. Connect the output pin from get. Drag a pin from the output of the get player camera manager node and search for add connect the output pin from the get mouse position on the viewport node. What? The project screen to world node will output a world. Drag a pin from the get player camera manager node and search for the project screen to world. Add the project screen to world to your graph. Then connect the output pins from the get mouse position. Okay, output pins X and Y to the corresponding input pins of the project screen node. I don't see that. Player camera manager. That's completely different. Alright, let's go back. Drag a pin from the get player controller node and search for get mouse position on the viewport. The get player controller node and search for get player. Let's try again. Get player camera. I don't have that. Get player camera manager. Let's try that. But that's just regular player. So read player camera manager. Player camera manager object reference.
This step is a little tricky. Ugh. What? It's already been 2 hours, Jesus. Time flies. Alright, so 2 hours is enough for me to be streaming for one day. Not for one day, but for one morning on a nice, beautiful Sunday. I am going to take a nice break and probably come back to this, maybe work a little offline, but yeah, it's cool. The main takeaway from this is that apparently I might be able to coerce ChatGPT into guiding me into making this game, so I'll continue to update as I go along.